By the end of Spider-Man Brand New Day, Peter Parker has people in his life again. But here is the question tearing the fandom apart. Do they actually remember him, the real him, or are they just strangers who happen to wander back into his orbit? And if the memories are coming back, how? Let's break down every major theory about whether Peter's friends remember Spider-Man.
Fair warning right away. This one is packed with spoilers for the ending and the post-credits scene. If you have not seen Brand New Day yet, this is your cue to swing away and come back later. Still here? Good, because this is the single most emotional thread in the entire movie, and it is the one nobody can stop arguing about. First, the wound this whole thing is built on. At the end of No Way Home, to save the world, Peter let Doctor Strange cast a spell that erased him from everyone's memory. Not just his secret, Peter Parker himself. His best friend, the love of his life, everyone, woke up with no idea he ever existed. He became a stranger in his own city.
And the exact rules of that spell are the first thing fans argue about. Did the world forget that Peter is Spider-Man? Or that Peter Parker exists at all? Brand New Day leans toward the harsher version. Everyone forgot Peter completely. That distinction matters because it decides just how much has to come back before his old life can truly return.
Now here is where Brand New Day leaves things. By the end, MJ and Ned are back in Peter's orbit. He is not alone anymore. But there is a catch that launched 1,000 theories. MJ is around again, yet she does not remember their romance. And Ned, through their old secret handshake, seems to get a flicker of something back. That handshake is the moment everyone is obsessing over. Peter and Ned share a specific, personal handshake from their friendship. And when they do it again, something sparks. It is played as a hint, a crack in the spell, a suggestion that on some level, Ned remembers his best friend. It is small, quiet, and absolutely deliberate. MJ's version is more bittersweet. She is drawn back toward Peter, but the actual memories, the relationship, the shared history are gone. She is meeting him fresh. So the movie hands us two different flavors of the same question. One friend may be remembering, one great love starting from absolute zero. And then lets us sit in it. So the real debate is not whether Peter has people again. It is this. Are these memories genuinely returning, or is Peter quietly rebuilding from scratch with people who will never truly know their past? Fans have landed on several competing theories, and each one completely changes what the future of this Spider-Man looks like. Let's go through them one by one. Theory 1, and the most popular by far. The bonds break the spell. The idea is simple and very comic book. Magic can erase a memory, but it cannot erase a genuine connection. The people who loved Peter most are the ones whose memories start clawing their way back, because what they feel for him is stronger than what Strange took away. The handshake is the smoking gun for this theory. Ned did not recall a fact, he responded to a feeling, a piece of muscle memory tied to real friendship. Supporters argue the spell is airtight against strangers, but full of holes around the people whose lives Peter genuinely shaped. Love, basically, is the loophole the magic never accounted for. If this theory is right, Peter's old life comes back one relationship at a time, earned rather than simply handed to him. Ned first, then MJ, then maybe the whole world, slowly. It is the most hopeful reading, and it fits the movie's core message perfectly. The connections you build are the one thing no magic can ever fully take. Theory 2 zeroes in on MJ. She remembers with her heart before her head. Her factual memories are gone, but the feelings, the pull toward Peter, the sense that he somehow matters, are still there underneath. This is the classic comic book idea that some bonds live deeper than memory, in a place a spell simply cannot reach. Watch how MJ behaves. She does not remember the relationship, but she keeps gravitating back to Peter anyway, as if her instincts know something her mind does not. Fans read that as the emotional truth surviving, even when every detail was erased. The love came first, long before the memories, and the love is what refuses to leave. The payoff of this theory is both heartbreaking and romantic. Peter and MJ do not get their old relationship handed back. They fall in love again from the very beginning, and somewhere in that process, her memories quietly reignite. It turns the tragedy into a second chance, and that bittersweet second chance is exactly what the best Spider-Man stories are made of. Theory 3 is the more mechanical one. The spell is broken, unstable, and quietly falling apart. Remember, Strange's spell went wrong mid-casting. It was rushed, tampered with, and never clean. So, a lot of fans think it was always a leaky, temporary patch on reality, not a permanent, airtight rewrite of the world. Under this theory, specific triggers punch holes in it. A familiar object, a shared place, a handshake, a sudden wave of déjà vu. Every time someone close to Peter brushes against their real history, the spell frays a little more. The handshake is not a unique miracle, it is just the first crack the movie actually lets us see on screen. If the spell is degrading, then the memories coming back is not a maybe, it is a countdown. The whole world could eventually remember Peter Parker again, though maybe not that he is Spider-Man. That would let the MCU quietly rebuild Peter's civilian life while keeping his secret identity genuinely secret. Honestly, that might be the best of both worlds. Theory 4 brings in the wild card of the whole movie, Jean Grey. Brand New Day introduces a mutant with mind powers, and she spends part of the film literally inside Peter's head. To a lot of fans, that is no accident at all. Introducing telepathy into Spider-Man's world is the perfect key to the memory lock. Here is the logic. A powerful enough telepath can find, restore, or even rebuild memories that magic buried. If Strange's spell hid Peter's existence inside everyone's mind, then a mutant like Jean, or eventually someone even stronger, could in theory pull those memories back out. The movie may have just quietly introduced its own undo button. It is a bold theory because it ties Peter's most personal problem to the arrival of mutants in the MCU. Imagine the gut punch of Peter's friends getting their memories back not through magic, but through a mutant he chose to save. It would bind the Spider-Man corner and the X-Men corner of this universe together with one devastating decision. Theory 5 thinks way bigger. The memories do not fully come back in this movie at all. They come back in Secret Wars. That post-credit scene, showing a Spider-Man appearing way out in space, points straight at the reality-shattering multiverse event waiting on the horizon. This whole thread might be set up for something enormous. The theory goes like this. Secret Wars is expected to collapse and then rebuild the entire multiverse. When reality gets stitched back together, spells like Strange's could simply cease to exist, and everyone remembers Peter Parker in one gigantic universe-wide reunion. It would be the ultimate reset button, cashing in years of setup in a single moment. It is the most epic version of the answer, and also the most frustrating for some fans, because it means the memory thread stays open for a very long time. Peter would carry that loneliness across multiple films before the payoff finally lands. High risk, but potentially the single biggest emotional reward in the entire saga. And none of this comes from nowhere. In the comics, the storyline literally called Brand New Day begins with One More Day, where Peter makes a deal with the demon Mephisto that erases his marriage to Mary Jane and wipes his identity from the world. The movie is remixing one of the most infamous memory wipes in all of Spider-Man history. And in those comics, MJ still ends up circling back into Peter's life, their bond intact even after the universe was rewritten around them. That precedent is a huge part of why so many fans are confident the movie's MJ will find her way back to the truth too. The comics already told us this connection does not stay broken. So which theory holds up best? The handshake and MJ's pull make the bonds break the spell idea feel almost confirmed already. The broken spell theory explains the mechanics of how. Jean and Secret Wars offer the bigger, flashier routes. The likeliest answer is a blend. The people closest to him remember first, slowly, and a larger event finishes the job later. But strip away the mechanics, and this is really a story about being forgotten by the very people you would die for, and choosing to love them anyway. That is the most Spider-Man idea imaginable. Peter helping everyone around him while carrying a loneliness none of them can even see is the quiet, beating heart of Brand New Day. It is worth noticing how Peter reaches Jean in the first place, by sharing the memory of losing Aunt May, and her lesson about power and responsibility. Memory is the movie's entire engine. Peter uses his own to save someone else, while praying the people he loves will one day recover theirs. That painful symmetry is the whole point. There is even a darker reading worth putting on the table. What if Peter could remind them, but chooses not to keep them safe? That would make the memory question not about magic at all, but about sacrifice. Peter deciding that a normal, unhaunted life is the greatest gift he can give the people he loves, which is very on brand for him. So do Peter's friends remember him? Right now, officially, mostly not, with Ned's handshake as the one flickering exception.
But every clue the movie plants, the handshake, MJ's pull, the broken spell, the sudden arrival of telepathy, points the same direction. The memories are coming back. It is a question of how and when, not really if. A hero saving a city that forgot he exists, quietly waiting for the people he loves to remember his face. That is where Brand New Day leaves Peter Parker. So which theory do you believe? Do the bonds break the spell? Does Jean hold the key? Or does it all wait for Secret Wars? Tell me below and tell me who to break down next.